I'm still in the process of organizing my computer and all of my hard drives that I had everything backed up to.
Joshua's computer report is live. So,
Hey, I tell you all about my computer woes that I've been having.
Nathan's got a fun story, but we'll not get into that. Oh.
That's the entire episode.
So, welcome everyone to episode 27. We're going to get right into this, considering we are already late. Let's start with shit. How about a new Call of Duty? With the emphasis on duty. Because, let's be honest.
I want to say something about this real quick. I have been a huge Call of Duty hater, as pretty much everybody here knows.
Yes.
I mean, when it comes to Call of Duty, I think in VGHC, I've probably been one of the biggest haters over the years.
Definitely.
And I put less hate out on this than every other person in the group. Like, I was shocked at, like, just how vicious people were being, and I was like, just, wow. I mean, I've hated this for so long, I've wasted so much money on this franchise, and I'm not even hating it that much. That was just still weird.
What is what it is?
Private military contractors or something?
Well, I mean, if this was if it was from Infinity Ward again, or if it was from Treyarch again, then yeah, I'd say okay, it's gonna be shit again. But there's three things that kind of make me slightly excited about this one, and like for example, I said they have my curiosity and my attention. They don't have enough to have my money yet. I'm just I'm curious and I'm excited about it, but that doesn't mean they're getting $60 out of me. The fact that it's from a new developer, it's from Sledgehammer, which did help on Modern Warfare 3, but this game has all been them. Now, it is, as far as we know, the same engine, just, updated for next gen. So, obviously, a lot of the same bullshit problems could still be there. That's obviously, could happen. But it is a new developer, and their first time, working on a complete game. So that gives me a little bit of hope. Because the first few Treyarch games were better than the Infinity Ward games, and then they got shit too. So we might actually get a good game out of these people.
Well, founder of Sledgehammer Games previously worked at Visceral and were responsible for the Dead Space game.
Yeah. And the second thing that makes me kind of excited is I'm always a fan of very futuristic looking games, and like a lot of people pointed out that it looks like they ripped off Crysis. Like, well, that's true, they did. It's pretty blatantly obvious, but Crysis is done. There's not a Crysis 4 coming. Crysis is done, and the second and third game, nobody's still playing them anymore. Maybe some people on the PC, but nobody's playing them on the console. So the fact that they did copy a lot of it, personally, I don't really care. Even being a huge fan of Crysis, I could care less that they copied it. Titanfall has cloak and a lot. Titanfall has cloak and double jumping and things like that. On the wall, all the parkour and that Crysis had, but nobody called it. Nobody called that copying because there was enough unique in the game to make it different. And so what? So they copied the cloak, and so they copied some of the other shit. Games, it's not like they, it's not like Crysis came up with that shit either. And Crysis is gone, so all the people saying they copied Crysis, shut up. It's not like you're gonna get another one and three stuff. So.
The thing is that there's always this small.
How are we gonna judge the power of our PCs by saying can it run Crysis?
Evidently, it's gonna now be can it run anything.
No, can it run Watch Dogs? That's
Yeah, we'll get to that. That's one of the topics later. But I mean, the third thing that I'm excited, all right. So there's a lot of futuristic stuff in it. There's some really cool looking stuff, and the third thing is that these trailers are always for the campaign. They're not for multiplayer. They're for the campaign. The campaign looks pretty cool. I mean, Kevin Spacey being in it as this guy that runs a private arm. one of the private militias and that. I mean, it seems interesting.
And the fourth point, Kevin fucking Spacey.
Exactly.
Like,
That's sold me on it right there. It's like, hell, if anything, I'll download it and play through the campaign and never play it again just to see how that is.
Well, I mean,
There's
the
always
campaign
this
will
little
last about 30 minutes, so.
Yeah.
There's a tiny glimmer of hope with every game, and then we just get disappointed. That's just how it's been. I think
from everything I've read and everything I've seen, not a chance in hell I'd drop money on it, but I'll definitely pay attention to the reviews and see what people are seeing and watch some video of it. And, if it doesn't end up not being as shitty and if I have the time for it, come fall, maybe I'd pick it up.
COD has had its 3 strikes with me, and I've been over this before. But the thing is that I feel like people set the bar really high with Ghosts, or were expecting more out of it, and got disappointed. That's where a lot of this hate's coming from. Because it's not completely next-gen, but does exist on the next-gen consoles. Outside of that, you have the futuristic stuff going on. I wouldn't be surprised if it's just like Black Ops 2. It's like, hey, look at these 1 or 2 cool guns, and I'm looking forward to using a multiplayer. Oh, wait, they're not there. I'm going to get to control a tank-like thing in the campaign. Am I going to get to do it in multiplayer? No, probably not.
Yeah, and of course that's definitely a possibility. And Black Ops 2 did have some futuristic attachments and things like that, but yeah, for the most part the multiplayer was very similar to everything else. This one's going so far futuristic that I would hope that some of it would transfer over, but again, probably not. And if it sucks, Titanfall will probably still be going good by then.
Yeah, I've heard Titanfall still has a very healthy player base, so.
Yeah, of course. I mean, it's still a very good game. It's still a very fun game. It's the most unique multiplayer we've had basically in a generation. And DLC is coming out probably the end of this month, from the looks of it. Maybe about 3-4 weeks away.
And then there's 2 more packs coming out later this year. So.
Yeah.
We need to have the same conversation around December, when more people are disappointed with Call of Duty because they put out the same nonsense, and go over to Titanfall. So more COD players go in Titanfall. Then we'll see.
Of course, Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare is coming out on PC soon, so.
Anyway, new Call of Duty. It'll probably suck, but it has Kevin Spacey, so it might be worth at least renting. Yeah, it's still coming out with the 360. I'll just rent it, play the campaign in 5 hours, and return it.
It'll suck, but it'll suck with Kevin Spacey.
I will say that if Kevin Spacey does the voiceovers for multiplayer as well, that'll be a huge reason to actually...
Oh, man, could you imagine that?
Well, they're already doing those...
Yeah, they have those voice packs now.
Yeah, that would be just as crazy as Snoop Dogg voicing stuff. Wait.
The Snoop Dogg one was terrible, but you got Arlie, I mean the drill sergeant, and when they announced that, I was like, I would buy this. There's no point to have this, but I would buy this, and it would actually make me play the game.
Parable voiceover pack. Dude, do a Stanley Parable voiceover pack and a character from Bastion.
Stanley called in a kill streak. I would pay money in every single game to have a voiceover of that. I would drop another 20. I would drop $20 on GTA to have that narrator narrate all of GTA.
Did you see the Mega 64 Stanley Parable in real life?
Yeah, I thought that guy was gonna get shot.
I'm surprised those guys haven't gotten shot or beat up by now.
They probably have.
Or shot at.
Alright, so let's see. I guess we can go into the PC requirements since that was brought up. Wolfenstein requires an i7 processor, but we don't know what type of i7.
It's an Intel Core i7 or equivalent.
Yeah.
which
And
means
i7s come in three different amount of cores, so we have no idea what is actually required to play the game.
yeah, and then they say just AMD equivalent. Equivalent of what?
Yeah, what's AMD equivalent of an i7?
And evidently, there is actually a dual-core i7, so you have 2, 4, 6, and 8-core possibilities of i7, and we have no idea which one is required. So,
It's too damn confusing.
But according to Bethesda, this is to play the game as it was intended at 60 frames per second. Yeah, yada yada.
Easy Master Race.
Now, there is something interesting. I looked up the difference between i7 and i5, and the difference is the i7 is hyper-threaded, the i5 is not.
Right.
So it could just be saying it needs a hyper-threaded processor?
that's what a lot of people were thinking. And a lot of people were saying, well, you know, if you have an i5 that's like a 6-core, you should be fine, because all it probably needs is an i7 quad.
I have an i7 quad, so no matter what, I'm happy.
Yeah, I need to upgrade my computer, so.
The other thing is, aren't the graphics card requirements is a GeForce 460 or a Radeon 6850?
Yeah, the graphics card requirements were incredibly low.
And though, why an i7?
Well, because it's the same with the other ones. Like for example, the graphics capabilities from GPU capabilities in the next gen consoles are garbage compared to the dedicated GPUs that we have. But both next gen consoles have really, really good processors in them that are, that are specially made for them, and evidently they can't, they're deciding that they're only going to bother to make it work with, the top of the line PC processors, not realizing that only about maybe 1% of people own the top of the line PC processors.
I think 1%.
Like the Intel.
Even Intel, most people with Intel don't have i7s. They have really high end i5s.
Yeah, they have i5s or are the FX ones popular, or is it just the Phenoms?
A lot of people still run the Phenom, but FX is still very popular. That's what I went. I went with FX 6300, which should have been fine for a couple of years and now isn't.
I have an i7. I just think it's probably too low end for this.
Unfortunately, I bought my girlfriend's new computer and got her a 6300 too, and that was a huge mistake. So, yeah.
Another interesting fact: the Xbox 360 version of Wolfenstein is going to have 4 discs.
That's a lot of discs.
I don't even know why they're releasing it for last gen. There's just no point.
Yeah. I think the Xbox One version is going to have like a 47 gig install.
Personally, I think Wolfenstein's going to tank bad.
A lot of the previews say it's been really, really fun.
Yeah.
This is like, I don't hear people talking about it. I don't go to Reddit and see every day, oh my god, I'm looking forward to Wolfenstein. Watch Dogs constantly, but Wolfenstein, nothing.
No, you hear virtually nothing about Wolfenstein, but the couple of journalists I have heard talk about it, they say, they've played whatever preview at blah 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 event, whatever, and it was a lot of fun. But then
I've read the same. Everybody who's played it says that they liked it, but nobody seems excited to go drop $60 on it.
I feel like the game is only going to grab its core audience and kind of just not so much after.
Yeah.
Well, they haven't really marketed it at all.
I mean, Wolfenstein, sure. I mean, it was popular. The original was incredibly popular, but we've kind of gotten beyond the Nazi thing.
Well, no, the original was not popular. The remake was popular.
That's true.
The original was a text-based game.
That's true. That was the one that I was talking about. It's like, for example, Doom 3. When Doom 3 came out, it had been a long time since Doom, but everybody still loved Doom because it had unique aspects to it. And it's like now it's like nobody gives a shit about Nazis anymore. I mean, it's just we're done with that.
Actually,
that is not true.
Even Call of Duty, we're not killing Nazis anymore.
Well, we'll see what happens.
You know, and it's like I think a lot of people are pissed. You know, I think a lot of people, you know, like me, I don't want to buy it on principle because they were supposed to get Doom 4 was supposed to be coming out right now, not Wolfenstein, but next Doom, and then it's like, oh, we're gonna push back Doom to release Wolfenstein. It's like nobody gives a shit about Wolfenstein.
Well, Wolfenstein comes with Doom 4 beta access, so
Yeah.
that can also be a
Which,
selling.
of course, they have to do that to get Wolfenstein to actually sell. You know, like Crackdown, for example, coming with the Halo 3 beta.
What's surprising?
Oh, 20 million copies!
But you know, once the Halo 3 beta ended, everyone was like, "Holy crap, Crackdown's actually a good game."
Yeah. Or here's an example: Bulletstorm, Gears 3 beta. Day that beta ended, I talked to my friends at GameStop. The day that beta ended, I one GameStop. I read a story saying one GameStop had over 1,000 copies of that game traded in one day.
Wow.
I totally did that shit.
I mean, to be honest, there really wasn't much reason to keep it because the multiplayer in Bulletstorm, it was okay, but it wasn't really that great. And if you had no friends to play it with, and you already played the story, there was no reason to keep the game.
There was a story?
Yeah, there was.
I just remember it was sick.
Anyway, I'm still pissed off for not putting Doom out. We need a new.
What about dicks?
Don't make me play the video, Victor. I still have it bookmarked.
I'm sure you do.
Oh, it bookmarked?
Nathan has every dumb video bookmark.
It's time to let things go, Nathan.
I still like that game. I actually was tempted. I actually was going to buy the PC version just to play the story again. It was only like $5, but unfortunately, it uses Games for Windows Live, so I don't know what the situation is with it still, you know, being viable now that Games for Windows Live is dead.
Well, I think the Madison is talking.
I've actually gotten most of my games for Windows Live to work. I just had to, ironically.
Yeah, the thing is that studio was part of Epic, and then Epic bought them up and, you know, consolidated them. So, you know, it's not going to get an update.
Oh, but you may just have to reinstall games for Windows Live.
I don't know. The thing is, I just didn't bother looking into it. I mean, if it's something that requires Games for Windows Live to install the game in the first place, then it probably won't work anymore because they're not going to patch it. If I can install it without Games for Windows Live and then just put on, you know, a hack, you know, to disable it, you know, then it'll work. But it's something I'll look into eventually. All right. So what else? What was next? Victor, you want to talk about Kirby?
Yeah, why not? We'll get into that. Kirby.
Can I borrow it?
When I breeze through it in a few more days, that could definitely be a possibility. But Kirby, I gotta say, and provided I really didn't get to play all the way through Kid Icarus Uprising, but outside of that game, this has got to be the best use of 3D I've seen for the 3DS.
Really?
Link to the Past wasn't too bad. Or, I mean, Link Between Worlds wasn't too bad.
I can't speak for that because I haven't played like past like the first level.
Yeah, that makes some decent use of the 3D. Especially for the more vertical dungeons. It's kind of neat.
With Kirby, it just feels right because you got the platforming you already enjoy, which is right up there with Kirby Superstar, which that's my favorite Kirby from the Super Nintendo. So the fact that this brings memories of that makes it an amazing game all by itself. I don't know if there's a co-op mode in the game. If there is, then that just makes it that much better because you can do that.
I don't think there is. At least I haven't heard of one.
Hypernova actually isn't that bad. Hypernova gives you major suck abilities.
Which looks a lot cooler than the stupid giant egg in Yoshi's New Island. That was a complete gimmick.
Yeah, this you can, outside of the fact that you can suck up things like trees and enemies with ease, it actually does give a platforming aspect where you can suck up platforms that go in certain places and, you know, let you proceed accordingly. That's pretty awesome. The boss fights seem to be pretty unique, and pretty much all of them take advantage of the 3D. Like,
nice to see something actually use the 3D.
It's great. The first boss in like pretty much every Kirby game is Wispy Woods, and I forget what they changed his name. It's the same damn tree, except it's named differently. I forget what the name of it is, but
That tree.
you know, it's in the background, it's in the foreground. There's attacks that go on, you know, when they're only in the background. They come to the foreground, you have to dodge them. It's really great. The cannons too, kind of like in Tropical Freeze, you have points in the game where it looks like, man, this would be really awesome in 3D, except with Kirby it actually is in 3D.
So the entire game is in 3D?
I won't say the entirety of the game isn't, well, yeah, you can pretty much say that.
Oh, that's nice after, you know, the certain game called Pokemon, in which only about 5% of it was in 3D.
Yeah, this uses way more 3D by a long shot. Like, you play it for 2 seconds and it uses more than Pokemon does.
Oh, that's definitely a nice change.
Pokemon was designed to work on the 2DS, so
Pretty much.
they didn't really put much effort into 3D. They should have just ignored 3D.
I know. I mean, the thing about the 3D in Pokemon is the reason why there's so many areas where there's no 3D is because it would lag too bad if you had the 3D on.
Lag.
It's evident in the battles where if you turn 3D on, it lags.
It lags without the 3D. I have had so many battles in the grass areas that.
Oh yeah, the grass areas, depending on what Pokemon depending on what Pokemon are there, yeah, they can lag no matter what. Which of course the grass area is the #1 place where you find Pokemon. So.
Since when has a Nintendo game had lag? I mean, seriously.
That is true. Pokemon X and Y will actually be probably the first Nintendo game ever to have lag, and it just proves the fact that Nintendo's hardware is always, as far as specs go, is always incredibly inferior. I mean, you could put Pokemon now if there was a 3DS like emulator, well, I mean, obviously emulators have the problem where you're emulating the hardware and everything. But like if they developed X and Y for mobile, like for Android and iOS, you could have made it more detailed, and you probably could have done 3D for everything. Of course, there is no 3D device, but you could have if there was one.
Well, there is there is one.
We don't speak of that one. We don't speak of that phone.
Wait, which phone is this?
HTC made one.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Phone.
The Evo 3D.
Yeah, the Evo 3D, which we don't speak of anymore.
We just did.
And the people who own it, oops. That's the best thing I can say. It was during that few years period where buying an HTC phone was the absolute worst thing you could do.
It's still debatable if buying an HTC phone is the worst thing you can do.
Well, we don't have a Thunderbolt anymore, so that's better.
I haven't tried the new one, but it's getting amazing reviews, so...
Yeah, I mean, well, the biggest thing back then was they just didn't care. It's like we released a phone and we're never going to touch this phone ever again. Enjoy being stuck on 1.6, for the next 3 years or whatever the hell it was.
Yeah, that one was like the first God phone when people were talking about it, because that was the first one to have like a 1 gigahertz processor or something. People were going nuts over that thing.
Yeah, that was when Snapdragon was first used, and it was like, OMG, I have a Snapdragon, I have a Snapdragon.
I think that was the Nexus 1, I think, was the first one.
No, I thought it was the original HTC.
Well, the Nexus 1 was made by HTC. Oh, but you know what? No, but there was the Desire. There was an HTC version of the Nexus 1. You had the Nexus 1, and then you had a standard version of it. Like the Nexus 5 is based off the G2.
Okay.
So yeah, so that's probably what it was. And that was basically up until the HTC One. That was basically the last good phone HTC made. I mean, they had a few nice ones there and there, but they always found a way to screw over everyone who bought them.
Yeah, basically.
I liked my HTC Droid Incredible. That was nice.
That was one of the good ones.
Yeah, that was one of the nicer ones. It had that cool tiered back.
Yeah, and plus even the extended battery was nice and tapered, so it fit the phone really well. The only problem was the optical trackpad was kind of sensitive to light sometimes.
Oh yeah, my phone used to have track.
I remember that stupid shit.
Come on, why? You have a touchscreen. Why you need a trackpad?
I will say I miss my trackball from the Nexus One. I've
The
always
trackball was different. That thing lit up. That was cool.
yeah.
It
I
was
miss
like blue
trackball.
and red and green and purple.
That was the coolest thing about that phone. I remember people had iPhones and they'd see mine. They're like, "That lights up. That's so cool. I want that." And now we're 5 years later, and I still got a phone that has a LED that lights up, and the iPhone still doesn't. Oh yeah. Anyway,
What are we talking about?
we'll
Video-
go talk about Sony and be mean to them.
Actually, I had a question for Victor real quick.
What's up?
A lot of reviewers are saying Kirby Triple Deluxe is really, really easy. Have you found that to be true?
That means I'll like it more.
So far, yes, but that's Kirby, really.
So it's not subtracting from the fun at all.
No,
If you want to make Kirby really difficult, try playing it on an emulator on your phone.
Yeah.
Kirby only gets somewhat challenging when you have games with like the boss rushes, and that can get difficult.
I have heard that this one that it has a nice gradual difficulty slope that starts to get challenging toward the end.
I'm only on like the third world, so I can't really speak for that, but it's Kirby. You can't expect it to be hard. Anyone expecting a challenge out of Kirby is looking in the wrong place. Is looking in the wrong franchise, period.
Go play Kid Icarus.
Yeah, but that's a challenge for different reasons.
That's a challenge because the game is frickin' stupid.
Well, there you have it.
So Sony's losses continue. They took a 200, was it million or billion? I think it was billion.
I don't think they've hit the billions in losses yet.
Dude, $200 million loss because of the amount of money that they put into Blu-ray to make the format win, which in the long run I don't think they actually had to do. But
No.
Blu-rays are not selling as well as Sony has expected. And a lot of people are calling this saying, oh, Blu-ray is going to die. And it's like, that's not what this means. It just means that Sony expected them to basically be selling about 3 to 4 times as much as they are now. And that was kind of a stupid thing for them even to think of at the time.
Sony expected the Blu-ray to become the DVD, which it hasn't.
It's going to
Well, I mean,
eventually, but it's got a long
In some
road.
ways it has. I mean, when most new movies come out, the Blu-ray does outsell the DVD, but DVDs are still there. And you still have tons of people who are just buying the DVDs because they don't own a Blu-ray player for whatever reason. Now, for example, if the Xbox 360 is the only thing you have hooked up to your TV other than your cable, well, buying a Blu-ray is kind of pointless for you. Like for me, I went and bought Blu-rays before I even had a Blu-ray player because they came with the DVD, and I knew eventually I would get a Blu-ray player.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, a lot of people didn't feel that way. And I mean, Blu-rays are selling great. It's just they're not selling as good as Sony thought, and a lot of people are just buying their movies digitally. There are a lot of people that are buying their movies off of Google Play and off of Amazon and off of iTunes. Personally, I think spending $15 for just a digital copy when I can spend $15 or $20 on a physical and a digital copy is a much better deal. But that's me.
I've never understood buying the digital copy for virtually the same price as buying the Blu-ray, DVD, and digital copy.
Yeah, that's the thing. If you're going to charge me $15 for just a digital version of a movie, which I can't even watch on everything I own for various reasons, DRM, things like that, you know, I look at that and it's like, well, I'm better off going and buying the physical one and just ripping it to my computer. Because if you buy it on Amazon, you can watch it on your computer, you can watch it on most devices you have hooked up to your TV, but you can't watch it on Android. If you buy it on iTunes, you can watch it on iTunes and you can watch it on an Apple device or an app, but that's it. If you buy it on Google, you can watch it on Android devices, and maybe you can watch it on Google Play on the computer, but I don't know. But that's it.
No.
There's none of these things allow you to watch it every possible way. Whereas if you have a DVD, it will work on anything that can play a DVD. And if you have a Blu-ray, it'll work on anything that can play a Blu-ray, with the exception of possibly your computer. But you can get it to work just by buying Blu-ray software. And, you know, worst comes to worst, you can rip the DVD and you can rip the Blu-ray for free, and then that digital file will work on every single thing you own. You don't have to worry about anything. So I mean, the fact that people are actually the fact that enough people are buying movies flat out digitally, honestly, just disturbs me, and it makes me think that, I mean, I want to hunt all these people down and say you're an idiot. Spend the extra $5 and get the real thing, and don't give me crap you don't have room. They don't take up that much room.
Yeah.
Buy one of those giant CD books and just put all the discs in there.
There you go. Toss the box in the garbage and just keep the discs. That's actually what I'm doing to a lot of my old PC games, because PC games, you know, used to have huge boxes.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Don't really have to. I don't have any big boxes in this room, but you know, PC games used to have huge boxes. I mean, I remember back when I was young, I remember buying Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2. The box was bigger than a box of cereal.
Hold on a second.
This was a CD-ROM game, and the box it came in was bigger than the biggest box of cereal you could find.
So, I think it was Diablo 2 that was the size of a console box.
Oh, Victor, go get Final Fantasy.
Ah, there we go.
But that's a collector's edition though. Go get Final Fantasy 7. Go get Final Fantasy 7. So I sold that to you. So go get that. Now this is the original box for Final Fantasy 7. It came in nothing smaller than this. Look how big that thing is.
Oh, that's the stupid trapezoid. Didn't Tomb Raider and Thief come in those really stupid trapezoid?
Yeah, they came in the stupid trapezoids. That is actually a small box compared to what some of them were back then.
Yeah, well, I remember.
I don't have it anymore, but I swear to God, I had a Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2. The box was bigger than a box of cereal.
It wasn't. It had more, I think, square edges, but the Diablo 2 box was kind of like that. I wish I still had it, the original Diablo 2 box. But yeah, that was kind of along those lines too, shape-wise. Big box.
I think I have a missed Masterpiece Edition big box, and that
one's pretty big, yeah.
It's giant.
Just for fun, I'm trying to find an actual picture of the Tony Hawk Pro Skater box, and I can't. I guess I just need to search for like giant PC game box. But I mean, PC game boxes at one point were
Actually, hold on. Maybe I should get the Titanfall box.
Now that is bigger. Alright, the Titanfall box is still the biggest box I've ever seen.
Yeah.
I finally got to see it.
Does anyone know why they started putting them in those giant boxes? Because originally,
I don't know why they did PC games in those giant boxes. I don't know if there ever was a reason.
Because originally, when developers would just pawn their PC games, at computer stores, they just put them in little Ziploc bags. And
I'm desperately trying. Well, here's the original Thief packaging from the looks of it, which is pretty damn big.
I think the Thief gold packaging was in the trapezoid box. I don't remember what the original one was.
There's a Mech Commander box. That's pretty big. Oh, if I still had my SimCity 2000 box, that was a big one. That was a big one. There's a giant Fallout one. I'm trying to, but like I know that there were some PC boxes that were just ungodly huge, like for no real good reason.
And they were all different sizes and different shapes and.
All right, here's a good picture. All right, here's a really good picture that I just found. Now, it doesn't have anything for scale, but, okay, will you stop screwing up, Chrome, seriously, for 1 second? Okay, so here's a couple of pictures. This is Mech Commander, and that's showing, there's the CD right there, compared to the size of the box. So the box is about 4 times the size of the CD. And this is back when you got bound manuals in games.
Oh, wow.
So here's Thief now. Ah, crap. My computer's screwing up.
Oh, yeah. I remember those.
So now that you got an idea for the size of these, here's one with a whole bunch of ones. So this one here is about the size of that. These ones are about the size of the Mech Warrior ones. And then you got Warcraft here and Quest, which these are, you know, even almost twice the size.
Well, the Warcraft is just the battle chest.
Which of course was a huge box.
That same thing existed for Diablo and StarCraft.
I can only imagine what computer game retailers must have went through trying to fit all of those stupid things on their shelves.
But, you know, the funniest thing about the PC gaming boxes is that, you know, consoles have been using the standard DVD packaging since the PlayStation 2. Yet PC games have only been using that packaging for about the last maybe 4 years.
Well, because first
5 years at the most.
First they went with like the double, well, and some of them still do. They have the double thick.
Yeah, the double.
DVD.
I'm looking at my PC games, and I think the last PC game I bought with the double, from the looks of it, it looks to be Crisis 2. Looks like the last one. But that one might have had a double because it came on a lot of discs though, so that might have been the reason for that double. But basically, it was up until about 3-4 years ago, and that was it. GTA 4 still had the big one. Mass Effect, the original Mass Effect, still had the big one. But I was very happy when I finally, you know, when I went to go pick up a PC game and it was in a normal box. I was like, finally, I can make room with everything else.
Of course, we still have handheld games that are using all sorts of different sized cases.
Yeah, that's true. Nintendo has to be special.
Well, even Sony, the PSP cases and then the Vita cases.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, at least they were somewhat similar. They just, you know, weren't as, you know, wide, but
Vita.
at least they tried. Anyway, so Sony took a really big loss on the Blu-ray, and once again, basically the entire company except for the gaming division is hurting, and it's a good thing that the gaming division is, you know, finally doing good, because otherwise the entire company would be doing bad.
Yeah.
Well, that's what happens when you put out, you know, things like the Sony Vaio. It's like, why would you spend the extra money on that?
Yeah. I mean, I'm kind of sad to see the Vaio kind of go, because they do have some really nice computers, but, you know, and they finally did start pricing them normally, but, yeah, I mean, you know, that's the reason why your PC department never made any money, because people don't spend more money for designer PCs. You know, that's not the reason why you go for Windows.
No, that's why people buy Macs.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Alright, so most of the stuff is Nintendo, so let's get the last non-Nintendo thing out of the way. LucasArts, as part of, well, not only LucasArts, but Lucasfilm and Disney, as part of their essentially getting everything ready for the new Star Wars movies, they announced a major change in Star Wars canon, in which basically everything that has ever been made outside of the 6 movies and Clone Wars is no longer canon. And for gaming, that includes all the games: Knights of the Old Republic, Jedi Knight, the current game, the Old Republic, and Force Unleashed, everything.
That's
so
bullshit.
Force Unleashed was already pretty shitty canon anyway, so.
That's bullshit. Why is this not canon?
But the thing I hate is they declared that Force Unleashed is canon when they released it.
They did.
What really confuses?
Except
I'm glad I'm not the only one who remembers this.
they did declare it, and it was a very stupid thing for them to do because it broke other parts of the canon. as a lot of people pointed out, and it also had multiple endings that didn't fit with the canon.
Well, no, there was a canon ending, and then there was a non-canon ending.
Right.
Yeah, but I mean, even the canon ending didn't. It broke so much.
But then they threw it out the window anyway when they made a sequel to that.
Yeah, and then they made a sequel that just says to hell with all the canon. So a lot of people are pissed off because a lot of people felt that some of these games, like Knights of the Old Republic, and some of the books in the expanded universe, they've always felt that that's canon. And, well, as far as you're concerned, it still is, but it's not in the official universe anymore. I agree with what Disney and Lucasfilm has decided to do, because the Star Wars canon, for the first time ever, will actually make sense.
I still don't bet on that.
So the official canon going forward is all of the movies, obviously, episodes 1 through 6, and the upcoming 7, 8, and 9. The 5 seasons of the Clone Wars TV show and the upcoming Star Wars Rebels show.
Which is cool because I actually kind of like Ahsoka from the Clone Wars TV show. She's a cool character.
Yeah, she was cool. In addition, if the spin-off movies actually happen, those will be canon as well. And all future, everything done in the future, all books and comics and games in the future will be canon unless specifically stated otherwise.
Or unless they later go back on their word and say they're no longer canon.
It's possible that they do that, but I don't think so. I think they are specifically doing this, to streamline everything. The reason why some games may not be canon is because Star Wars characters are going to show up in other games. Like, for example, Star Wars is going to show up in Disney Infinity. It's going to show up in Kingdom Hearts. That's obviously not going to be canon.
You mean Kingdom Hearts isn't canon?
Plus, also, if
Mickey Mouse really did kill them.
Also, let's say they decide to bring back Super Bombad Racing. That's not going to be a canon Star Wars game.
Why not?
Personally, I would love to see them bring back Star Wars Racer, but I still don't think it'll happen. But things like that are not going to be canon. But in the future, they do it, and they've also clarified something that certain things that have existed may actually become canon, but they're kind of doing it on a case-by-case basis. Pretty much anything that takes place after Return of the Jedi and during the 6 movies will probably never be canon. Any book, comic, or game that takes place in between that will most likely never be canon.
You mean Lethal Alliance won't be canon?
Like Force Unleashed, for example, maybe they'll toss that back in, but it's unlikely. Things like Jedi Academy, Jedi Knight are no longer canon because they take place after after Return of the Jedi. Things like Knights of the Old Republic, those could very easily go back into canon because the new canon most likely will never touch, that part of the history. So things like that can probably, easily be put back into canon unless they eventually replace them. And if anything, it gives EA a really, really good excuse to remake those 2 games.
Yeah.
Oh, good. Canon version.
They just remake all of the old games and put canon version or canon edition.
Knights of the Old Republic, canon edition.
I don't think anybody would complain, to be honest. I think if EA announced this year at E3, Knights of the Old Republic remake with maybe like the Force Unleashed, all the Force features of Force Unleashed on the Frostbite 3 engine, I think everybody would be like, hell, I'd buy that and I'll buy the season pass. People wouldn't even complain. They'd just be excited to have Knights of the Old Republic again.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
I'd be insanely excited for that, and I do expect to hear something on Star Wars at E3 this year. I would be shocked if we don't hear anything.
Now, would they sell the non-canon edition, and then the season pass would include the canon edition?
Well, no, you can already buy the non-canon edition on Steam.
You can upgrade to the canon edition for an additional $20.
Yeah.
One thing that it is said is that the new Star Wars Battlefront will not be canon. It will be part of the expanded universe. But obviously, because of what Battlefront is, that's not really surprising because it's probably not going to have a story.
Right.
Because you're gonna have Yoda and Darth Maul and Darth Vader.
Yeah, I mean, assuming that it's going to be the same focus as the previous one, which was basically a multiplayer-only game, there's no reason for that to be canon because literally the whole point of the game is just to put you in pre-existing battles, and yeah, I mean, a couple people were kind of pissed at it. It's like, why? The original games had nothing really in it to make it canon. I think Battlefront 2 had the 501st story that kind of went through the 501st Legion and Order 66, but most people just went online and played online against other people, and most people probably didn't even know that existed in that game. But currently Battlefront is still scheduled to be released in 2015. So I expect to see something of it this year. I would be kind of shocked to not. I would be kind of shocked to not see anything.
If you don't see anything, I would expect a delay.
Yes.
Yeah, but I would agree. If we don't see anything this year at E3, I would definitely start to think there'd be a delay. I mean, I don't necessarily expect to see like a half an hour worth of gameplay because it is going to still be a good year to a year and a half away.
Well, a trailer or something.
Yeah, I definitely expect a trailer and maybe just some new information about it. I also really expect EA to announce another Star Wars game. They made it very clear after they got the license and after they announced Battlefront that they had a lot of ideas. They had a lot of ideas flowing around. They were looking at franchises that they wanted to bring back and things like that. There were a lot of studios that want to do so. There's already been rumors that there's 2 or 3 studios working on Star Wars games.
1313?
No, 1313 is dead. That is completely dead. That's never coming back. But so I'm excited for E3, and the fact that we have this canon announcement now, it makes me a little bit more excited because I would hope that Disney and Lucasfilm, consulted with EA over that, and they're consulting with the new games because of the really tight reins that they're putting on the canon now. And maybe we will get our first, canon game, announced this year at E3 for a release maybe in 2015 or 2016.
Well,
I'm very excited. I really hope we'll get something announced at E3.
The first canon game to the main canon.
The third canon game. Force
I
Unleashed.
swear, I mean, if all that gets announced is a game for the new movie, I'm going to be really fucking pissed.
Force Unleashed 3, how about that?
I could actually go for a Force Unleashed 3. Maybe not with Starkiller.
I mean, I don't want a Force Unleashed 3. I just want a game where you play as a Jedi and you have the Force powers the way in which they were shown in Force Unleashed.
Okay, Lego Star Wars 3.
We already had that, actually.
Oh, wait, they ever got 3 of those out?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, Lego Star Wars.
Lego Star Wars 3 was the Clone Wars.
Yeah, the TV show.
Which is all the figures were based off the TV show versions.
Lego Star Wars 3 Clone Wars is basically Force Unleashed Lite.
It actually comes for free with the 320 gigabyte hard drive too.
Yeah.
For the Xbox 360.
Oh.
So, all right. So, what stupid crap about Nintendo do we want to talk about first?
Well, let's go with.
Do you want to go with the crappy YouTube thing, or them doing something stupid for E3?
YouTube?
We'll go with E3. Nintendo once again is making no appearance whatsoever and doing the whole thing digital.
Which, on the bright side, means that we actually get to watch it.
If you want to watch it.
But we don't get to see the Reginator live.
Or the.
There could have been a live demo.
Ready to get the shit kicked out of him for not doing a good job with his company.
There could have been a live demo of the Regimech.
The Fizamech.
Yes, there could have been a live demo of that. That's missed opportunity.
The Fizamech could have been rampaging through the show floor, blasting people with his laser vision.
Sakurai, there's still time. You can do this.
I mean, I don't, E3 doesn't mean, the big shows don't mean as much as they used to, but
They're still big shows.
Yeah, and I mean the fact that Nintendo's not going to be there at all, and it's like you could be showing off Smash and things, but they are going to be doing Smash at like Best Buys across the country, so there's that.
Yeah, which is pretty damn awesome.
Yeah, I mean Nintendo just doesn't know what the hell they want to do. It's as simple as that.
Have they ever?
Not really.
Not since the Nintendo 64.
Pretty much.
Well, they didn't really know what they're doing with that either. Look at the controller.
Exactly. They struck a bit of lightning and acid with the Wii, and now they're hungover. So that's basically what happened. They hit acid with the Wii, and we're on a high for a couple years, and now they've just crashed, and they have no idea where they are, what they're doing.
They don't understand how to run a company that doesn't have a product that prints money.
So you're saying, does that mean that soon they'll be sober and they'll forget all about Wii and Me and Miiverse and everything else that's crap?
We can only hope.
So then what happens? We go back to a lunchbox? I mean, what happens then? Then we get good Metroid games. I'm okay with this.
Yeah, I'm not sure what a sober Nintendo would do.
Next gen Nintendo Entertainment System would be really nice. Like Ultra NES.
They should do that. They should make it look exactly like the NES. That would be pretty awesome.
They would sell so many.
I'd be all over that shit.
Call it the next entertainment system.
Yes, it would sell the NES abbreviation.
I like that. The next entertainment system. That is a good idea.
I'd buy it.
Nintendo, we're not even charging you for this.
Is that not one of the things that was? I could have sworn that was a thing when before the Wii came out, when people were toying around with the name Revolution.
Yeah, I think so.
I think that might have been one of the things.
I forgot, the Wii used to have a cool name.
Yes, it did. No, that was before. That was also before we saw the.
That was the beginning of the end right there. When they changed that name, that was the beginning of the end.
Well, that was when they showed off the waggle sticks too.
Yeah.
But before.
Another incredible Nintendo stupidity. Mario Kart 8 allows you to upload footage directly from the game to YouTube. However, if you do this, the video is automatically flagged by Content ID. So if you do this on your own personal channel, you just lost your channel.
That is so fucking stupid.
I think it actually flags it for no revenue.
So they changed that. If you make money on YouTube, you lose your income if you do this.
Yes, basically, if you're trying to make money on YouTube, do not upload Mario Kart 8 footage via the Mario Kart 8 game.
But also, most likely, even if you uploaded your own footage, if you did a direct screen capture, it probably would automatically Content ID it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So just don't do it at all, or if you really have to, use your phone. That way the footage looks crappy enough that maybe that Content ID won't pick it up.
See, like, it makes no goddamn sense. Like, Sony alone, with the sharing capabilities, wouldn't you think to not do that, to not do Content ID, to not put restrictions on what people upload? I mean, I know this involves Nintendo actually being smart, but why?
It's like, it's a double-edged sword. People want to share our stuff, but people want to make money sharing our stuff. We don't want people making money sharing our stuff. It's like, well, then why did you let them share it in the first place?
No, they want to make money on people sharing their stuff.
Yeah, or that.
Nintendo has.
This is why I hate the entire concept of YouTube right now.
This is Nintendo's plan. You see, the Wii U's been doing crappy, but they're like, you know what? We're gonna make our money back.
Put a little YouTube button on Mario Kart 8. People will start punching that YouTube button, uploading all their Mario Kart 8 footage. It automatically gets Content ID'd, and all the ad revenue goes to them.
That's how they're gonna stay relevant.
So when people go to watch all of their friends' Mario Kart footage, they're gonna have all these pre-roll ads. That's gonna be making money for Nintendo.
Well, there's one flaw with that. Who in their right mind is going on YouTube to see Mario Kart 8 footage?
I'm not exactly sure.
I don't know. You can like drive on ceilings and stuff now, so who knows?
Doesn't make me go, oh yeah, let me go YouTube this shit right now. Oh yeah, 5-hour Let's Play. Oh yeah.
Well, have they even specified what kind of footage is going to be uploaded to the game? Is it going to be like a highlight reel? Is it going to be the whole race? Or because I'm assuming it's just going to be a single button you just click to send to YouTube. I can't imagine them putting an entire editor in there.
I imagine it's going to be like the PlayStation, where it's you hit start, then you hit stop, then you hit upload.
But is that going to be too complicated for Nintendo? Are they just going to do like those highlight things when you watch a replay of the race, it has all the crazy camera angles as you watch the race? Is it just going to be that?
It's going to be crap. We're just going to call it that. We don't know what it is, but we know it's going to be crap.
Well, it's Nintendo, so there's a good chance it'll be right.
Well, one day they will get everything right. Just not today, not tomorrow.
Not next week.
Not next year.
Not for our kids.
I've said it time and time again. Nintendo needs to just kill off all hardware and just make games. They even screw up making the games lately too. So I don't even know if they're going to keep doing good at that.
You see, the thing is, there's this, and I really kind of wish John was here to bounce off with me on this. But the thing is that I played Tropical Freeze. Is it good? Yeah, absolutely. The thing is, you can't help but play these games, and it's like, okay, this is good, but it's missing something.
It's missing the same creativity and spark that was in the original Nintendo games. Like, I was just watching some Let's Plays, and I actually played a bit of it myself, Super Mario Land 2. That has got to be one of the most creative Mario platformers I have ever played. And it was on the original Game Boy, in black and green.
No.
It has more creativity and stuff that has not been seen in a Mario game since than Mario U, vs. Luigi Bros. Super.
That was like Pokemon. I mean, I think like there are days that I think that if any other company did Pokemon, it would, we would have everything that we would want in the game. We'd have complete 3D worlds. We'd be able to control the Pokemon, during battles. We would have so many amazing upgrades to that. Yet, because it's Nintendo and because they have the strict way that they want to do things, Game Freak is never really allowed to try anything new. They're told, you have to just make the exact same game but in a new place with 100 new Pokemon. So they do that, and they do a good job with it. But it's like there's so much more that could be done with Pokemon. And like for as good as it is on the mobile, why haven't we had a Pokemon Stadium game since the N64? It's like people have been begging for that. People, and say, and now with the 3DS, and the Wii U, now bring it back.
Pokemon Snap.
I would buy a Wii U. If you released Pokemon Stadium right now, I would go buy a Wii U. But
this actually kind of leads perfectly into one of the bonus topics from last week that we didn't really get to use, and it's basically the argument of formula versus innovation. Do we want the same shit, or do we want them to try something new?
Sales say that gamers want all games to be the same. The same meaning Call of Duty.
But these same people turn around and give Nintendo crap for putting out the same thing. So what do?
Make Call of Duty.
Really, though, I mean, a good example would be Zelda. Zelda's being talked about. That supposedly they're going to change things around. What would be acceptable?
At this point, anything. Link Between Worlds was a nice step in the right direction of being able to rent items. Pick any item you want. You can do the dungeons in any order, which is actually a lot like the original Zelda. That was definitely interesting. As the penalty for they tried to add some penalty for dying, because dying in a Zelda game is like nothing. They tried to add some penalty for dying in that you would lose all your rented items, but the game showers you with so many rupees that you can just go buy everything and not have to worry about that. So it had some interesting ideas, but it's still, every Zelda game feels like the last one.
I can't say anything with Zelda, but I mean, look, I'll toss like Mario and Pokemon in. Mario, we've had innovation in Mario.
Galaxy.
And when you look at other platformers that have been made from indie developers or even from major developers, they take a platform and they do unique things with it, and yet the last two Marios haven't felt any unique at all. It's like for the Wii one, what did we do? Oh, you added multiplayer. Okay.
What did you do with the Wii U one? Added multiplayer.
It's because the same game's been made 4 times now. That little spin-off series that started since the DS.
Yes.
Yeah.
The Mario Brothers.
Mario Brothers.
Like for Pokemon, you could have the exact same concept in Pokemon, but have a much more innovative and more enjoyable game. I mean, X and Y was a huge step in the right direction, but it's like you look at other games, like for example, let's say like the original Fallout and Fallout 3. The original Fallout was a game very similar to Diablo. Now, when the new Fallout 3 came out, Bethesda could have done a game that was similar to the original, Fallout and Diablo and that style game. They could have. People would have loved it. People would have loved it and bought it. But what did they decide to do? They decided to make it a first and third person shooter, which pissed a lot of people off. But then once the game came out, it was like, wow, this combines the best part of what Fallout was with having, a fully 3D world and all this.
Much more.
And everybody loves it, and we all can't wait until the next one. So you can do things like that. You can keep core concepts and change the gameplay up to make it a more enjoyable game. And like, I can't even remember the last time that there was. I mean, when was the last? I guess there was one for the Wii, like a Pokemon console game. I don't think there's been one for the Wii U, but I guess
There was a Pokemon game for the Wii. I don't remember what it was, but it was some stupid mini game.
It was a crappy Stadium wannabe game. It was terrible.
Yeah, that's what I've...
There was a Pokemon game for the GameCube.
That was actually cool. I think you're referring to Pokemon Coliseum.
Yes.
Yeah, that's it.
That was actually pretty cool, if for no other reason because of the exclusive Pokemon you could get from that game.
Yeah, Coliseum was a Stadium wannabe with some other stuff, but it had some nice features in it. And then
the Stadium wannabe was the one for the Wii.
That was Battle Revolution, which was a pretty terrible game.
Right. Coliseum was more like an RPG, like traditional Pokemon, except on a console.
I mean, like the battles in Battle Revolution looked good. The battles looked good, but it still wasn't Stadium. And like you couldn't use your Pokemon. All right. Well, actually, no, you could. According to this, you could, but I don't know. I never even heard anybody say you could do that. But it wasn't really that good of a game. And it's like all people wanted is Stadium. All we want is another Stadium.
They need Pokemon Stadium HD, and the technology's there. Let us transfer our shit, with this stupid bank confusing nonsense. Let us transfer stuff from there, basically everything we have now, into a new Stadium game.
So then the next one we have Pokemon Rumble U, which is basically just Skylanders with Pokemon, and no one over the age of 10 is gonna give a shit.
Yep, sounds accurate.
I've heard like nothing of Pokemon Rumble U.
It was announced.
Didn't it come out? I could have sworn it came out.
Oh, actually, it did a year ago.
That's
So absolutely, actually, nobody gave a shit then.
I think that proves the point right there.
And there's nothing, there's nothing, announced or anything else, and it's, and it's like right now, it's like, you're desperate for your console to sell. They're desperate for the console to sell. Literally, all you have to do is give us a core Pokemon game on the console, and it will sell.
Pokemon's.
Look at the sales of X and Y. Look at how many 3DS units you sold and 2DS units you sold because of X and Y. It says, oh, but no, we can't do it. It has to remain on that. Well, you know what? You just released one. It was good. It couldn't even use the selling point of your feature of your console, which is 3D, because the game was too advanced for your console. So the 3D has to be disabled in 95% of the game. But let's, ignore that fact.
He thinks people buy a 3DS for the 3D features. That's cute.
but like, thing is, like, it's things like this that I think if any other company owned, Mario, Zelda, and Pokemon, we would be getting what we want, or at least there would be innovation. At least there would be people trying to give us what we want, and maybe listening. Nintendo's just like, we're going to do what we want to do, and fuck you all. And I think the best example of that was when one of the heads of the Pokemon company flat out said, oh, if we did any of the stuff you guys say you want, it wouldn't work. It's like, evidently you're listening to idiots, because if you listen to the people that actually play the game, you know that 99% of what we're asking for would make a better game. Like, for example, not having to spend 6 hours to transfer your Pokemon and do stupid minigames. Not having to enter cheat codes, to rename a Pokemon I got from a trade. Basic fucking shit.
Actually knowing how to design a freaking interface.
Yeah, I know too.
I swear that Pokemon.
And then like, they said, oh, we're gonna add more legendaries, but you're only gonna be able to get them through mystery gift. You just gave us, and they wonder why so many people hack Pokemon games, because you don't give us a choice. You don't even give us the complete game, and most of us would be willing to pay for it. Most people would be willing to pay $5 for Mew, $10 for Mewtwo. Most of us would even be willing to do that.
That's just opening up DLC evil. But the mystery gift, I get it, but it's so much better because, I mean, think back to Gen 1. How did you get Mew? Legit.
The game.
You didn't?
Yeah, because Mew wasn't in the game.
Well, he was in the code, he just wasn't possible to capture.
I think it's a lot of these would-be event Pokemon, you had to actually attend an event if you're lucky to get it.
And of course, none of those events actually happen in the United States, so you just have to go into a GameStop.
And gamers don't go outside anyways.
Well, that's the thing. Now you have the option to go to GameStop or, do the mystery gift in the regular Nintendo Wi-Fi. You can get access to some of these things, and in some cases, the same legendary or a different version of a Pokemon will actually come out more often.
Here's a great example of stupidity, and we've talked about this on the show before. And this is one of the best examples of Nintendo's stupidity. Of literally, they should not, they just don't know what the hell they're doing anymore. The Pokemon Bank allows you, to save any Pokemon you want. Pokemon X and Y introduce Mega Evolution and the items. Now, Torchic, which was an event Pokemon, comes with Blazikenite. It is the only way to get Blazikenite. You cannot get Blazikenite in any other way other than doing that event. So once that event ends, if you lose Blazikenite, that's it. You can never get it back ever again until, I guess, the Ruby and Sapphire remakes. But let's say that they don't do Ruby and Sapphire remakes, or if those games come out, you still can't get Blazikenite. So if I am a person that plays Pokemon and I want to restart my game, I have to go find a friend to trade my Blaziken to go trade my Blazikenite to, because I can't put items in the Pokemon bank.
Because
And it's like, how do you miss this shit?
Because Pokemon.
Every single person that played the game realized it within 2 seconds of trying it. You're the fuckers who made the game. You're making it for 2 years and no one thought of this? Don't tell me that shit. Because if you tell me that shit, that just proves that you're as stupid as we all think you are. And we'd like to not think you're that stupid.
Because banks can't hold items, clearly. Banks are only for holding livestock and wild animals.
I may have, I got a little rough there, but, it's...
It's the fucking truth. I mean, seriously, how many generations do we have to go through? Like, this was the perfect opportunity for mass transfer. Instead, we ditched the minigame, and we still got a minigame, because you have to sit there and take out and reinsert your cartridge over and over to transfer all your shit. That's the minigame.
Yeah.
Wearing out the 3DS's spring.
Yeah, and then hope to God that that spring actually works by the time you're done with it all. It's a good thing I have 2 of these things, in case it did break.
I mean, everybody always said that, I'm nothing but a Nintendo hater, but I hate on their stupid decisions and their mistakes. I don't hate on them to hate on them. When they make a good decision and do something good, I give them credit for it. The problem is they haven't had a single good decision in 2 or 3 years.
Wii Music was the smartest thing Nintendo ever did.
Victor, I'm driving to your house and punching you right now.
Hey, Wii Music was cool. It just had a crappy selection of songs.
It's so innovative.
You want to know what ruined Wii Music?
There's only one thing?
I just need to find the picture.
Oh, boy.
I'm curious what this actually is that ruined Wii Music, because I'm pretty sure it being put out or announced in the first place is what ruined Wii Music.
No, Wii Music was really cool. It just had a really crappy selection of songs.
This right here, this guy is what ruined Wii Music from the very start.
I had a feeling I was going to have nightmares tonight.
And I wish that this was going at full speed, because it's much more scarier at full speed than it is.
Oh my God, I remember that now. Yeah, that's a good point. I can't even say that.
This is what killed Wii Music. This was the downfall of Nintendo right here. Take it all in. Take it all in.
I'd rather not.
I'm surprised he didn't strangle himself.
Well.
I mean, and the rest of the people doing it were not much better, to be honest. I mean, I remember watching that demo. If I remember correctly, I watched it with, I think it was when I had a bunch of people over. If I remember correctly, Carolyn was here, you were here, Victor, I think Dan was too. And I remember when that came on, even Carolyn, who basically wasn't even paying attention at that point, said, "What the fuck is this shit?"
Oh, it's so bad.
It's like all they had to do was just, call up Activision and Harmonix and get really good ports of, Guitar Hero and Rock Band over, but no, let's go make Wii Music. And I think one of them actually existed for the Wii, but it was terrible.
Hell, even get the fools that, demo for Just Dance. That would have been better.
I look forward to the day that I can not say anything bad about Nintendo. I look forward to that day. Unfortunately, it's still a long ways away.
I'm gonna say you're gonna be waiting a very long time.
Hopefully, I will see it before I die.
So the best thing Nintendo, in my opinion, can do right now is just give up on all hardware and just start working with the other companies and focus on the games. Because maybe when you don't have to worry about the hardware, you can actually start doing some stuff with the games. The only hardware that they should continue to do would be on the mobile front. And on the mobile front, it's very simple. Go call NVIDIA and have them make a Nintendo-branded NVIDIA Shield that will run all of your games and will run all Android games. And the next generation Shield, the processor that's going to be in that, is only about 50 times as powerful as the 3DS.
I think it's more powerful than that, actually.
Yeah, actually it might. I was trying to be generous.
Well, here's the problem. That's yet another outlet where you have to rebuy all of your Virtual Console titles.
People would do it. I've said it before. If you release Virtual Console on Android and iOS, even though everybody already has those things on an emulator, many people would go and buy the official ones. Because they're probably going to work a hell of a lot better than the emulators will. And even then, Nintendo can release a dedicated Nintendo goes and does Virtual Console for Android and iOS. In order to use those games, you have to buy the official Nintendo Bluetooth controller, which they charge like $30 for, and it looks like an NES controller
Without the wire.
Yeah. And better yet, it also includes the little attachments so you can hook the phone into it. Charge $30 for that, and include one free game. Include like Super Mario World for the GBA or something. Include one free game. That would sell like crazy.
I'd buy it.
I know it would sell like crazy because the people that are already doing that are making tons of money. There's something like 2 to 3 million. There's something like 2 to 3 million sales of emulators between Android and iOS. And that's just and that's probably really low because a lot of them have been taken down, and there's multiple emulators, so it's probably 5 to 10 million if we want to actually have real numbers. And the actual controller sales, I know one company sold over 600,000 of those. I think it was Mad Catz. I think they've sold over 600,000.
Every company is making controllers for mobiles now.
Yeah.
Ray has been going
Into the game.
And it's like Nintendo's like, no, we don't want to lower us. It's like, you're not lowering yourself. People are already doing it. You're just going to make money off of what people are already doing. And it's free money because it doesn't even require any development. All you got to do is hire one of the guys that already made the emulator.
Or just go hire or just get a bunch of your interns.
Yeah.
I mean, even Sega went to a guy and had him start making ports for all the Sonic titles, and he's doing a great job.
Oh yeah,
those Sonic ones are selling really well.
What was his name? Chris Whitefield?
Yeah, it's Chris something. I think that might be.
He did like Sonic CD, Sonic 1, Sonic 2.
Yeah, he's working on Sonic 3 now.
They sold really well, and they play well too.
I bought all 3 of them. I love them.
So do I.
I know I got Sonic CD for free, and I always had trouble installing it, but eventually I did get it to work. But that was no problem due to the game. It was a problem due to like getting the Play Store or something. But it's like Nintendo just loses. It's like we're above that, and it's like right now you're not above anything.
They're only above it because they have so much money. They can just continue to be stupid for like the next 10 years. Until they finally have to start seriously doing something.
Well, I really do hope that one day they'll get smart.
One day they'll get sober.
Oh, one thing we didn't. One other little thing. There's a new Unreal Tournament might be announced this week.
Oh yes.
Yes.
Tour of Unreal Tournament will be live streamed at some point in time.
Yeah, Mark Rain says, I love Unreal Tournament, so excited for the comeback. More next week.
So
I think it's way too late, but as long as it's nothing like UT3, I'm all for it.
I have two opinions on the matter. One, well, I'm looking forward to it. Well, to seeing it at least. I might not buy it, but number two, can I run it?
Well,
Sure, you can run it. It only require
it's going to be big. It's
5
obviously
gig
going to be
video card.
It's obviously going to be Unreal Engine 4. And Unreal Engine 4, the requirements we've seen so far of it are not that bad compared to some of these other games, that are coming out.
5 gig video card.
Well, right now I would say that won't be too bad. The biggest thing is the internet. He also posted a picture of the original game, which has led some people to think that we're just getting an HD remix of the original. It's like I would not have a problem with that.
No.
It would still
be better than 3.
Or 2K4, I meant.
Yeah, 2K4 is obviously would be the best one to get an HD remake, but I'm looking forward to it. I'm definitely looking forward to an announcement. If it's if we're gonna get another 2000 if we're gonna get another UT3 here, well then we're gonna get another piece of shit. But hopefully that won't happen, and we'll just have to wait and see. I'm looking forward to the announcement at least.
Also, it would be really nice if it did sell well and Bethesda went and said, hey, Unreal Tournament's doing great, how about we make a next-gen Quake? Remember, those two used to be competitors back in the day.
That's something else. This is all that needs to happen.
Quake 4 was a pretty good game, and they were supposed to do it.
Let's still make them the competitors. Let's make an HD version of the original UT or UT 2014. I keep saying 14. God damn it. 2004, and an HD remake of Quake 3 Arena.
I'd buy both.
Oh yeah. Start the competition all over.
Alright, so we're going to have UT, Quake, and we're going to get Doom back, and then the only thing they'll be missing will be Duke Nukem.
We'll officially have a war more relevant than the console war.
I don't know if we want to bring...
I'll say, I'm definitely excited for the concept of another Unreal Tournament. I just don't have that high hopes for it, just because...
Unreal Tournament 3 was a bad taste in your mouth.
Yeah. Unreal Tournament 3 exists. That's really the only way I can explain it. Unreal Tournament 3 exists, and for that reason alone, it's difficult to have much hope. We'll see.
So with a little less than 8 minutes left, we can kind of go in. I do stress kinda because I only kind of got to go through it. The direct dedicated to Mario Kart 8, which will be coming out late this month.
And out on the 3DS too, but fuck Nintendo.
No, they only make one Mario Kart game per console. The 3DS already had its Mario Kart game.
That's true. I actually didn't even think of that at the time, but that's true.
And it's sucked, so we need to get a new one.
There has only been one Mario Kart game for every Nintendo console. No more, no less.
Yep. That is it. I actually didn't even realize that, mostly because I got it as a gift and never really touched it. But yeah, that's it.
I thought
Do you still have 7?
Yes, I do.
Can I borrow it?
There was
Go for it.
Mario Kart for the Super Nintendo, Mario Kart for the Nintendo 64, Mario Kart Double Dash for the GameCube, Mario Kart Wii. Now we have Mario Kart 8. The handhelds didn't start until the Game Boy Advance when we had Super Circuit.
That was a great game.
Yeah, then we had Mario Kart DS, and then now Mario Kart 7 on the 3DS.
Yep, that's it.
You're not getting another Mario Kart game on handheld until Nintendo's next handheld, if that ever happens.
Well, let's hope that happens soon.
The Nintendo 4DS.
Well, we'll find. I guess we'll find out whatever stupid name they're gonna come up with at that point.
The
But
Nintendo DSU.
quick things about Mario Kart 8. Apparently, someone leaked the entire soundtrack,
Oh yeah, I saw
I
that.
really want to know how.
which I have not been able to listen to the whole thing because of work and stuff. But they got some pretty good sounding stuff in there.
Supposedly, I think Nintendo or someone tweeted that the Mario Kart 8 soundtrack was recorded live.
They do seem to have live band in place for a lot of these tracks, including some of the ones that got remade for Mario Kart 8.
Which definitely sounds promising.
It definitely is. They showed like little bits of it during the direct, and that's honestly probably the most exciting thing of the whole direct.
Mario Kart 8 and Smash Brothers is like the only thing on the Wii U right now that looks remotely interesting. But Smash Brothers doesn't matter because I'm going to be getting on the 3DS anyway.
And I'm still not completely sold on 8, especially, and actually I think direct actually got me less interested because one of the things on here, you can spin boost, which it
What?
seems like you get rewards for bumping into people. It's stupid. Like you can bump and grind. You can bump and grind with other people, and you get boosts off of it. That does not seem like a good idea at all.
They encourage you to bump other players. Shouldn't it be the other way around?
So, you know, in Mario Kart Double Dash, they did this perfectly. At least if you had 2 players per kart. Because in Double Dash, when the person in the back could hit these shoulder buttons to swipe left or right, and if you swiped and hit someone, you would grab their item and spin them out.
I feel like ever since... See, this is what happened. Crash Team Racing came out, right? And you had a decent... where you could kind of... you get a boost off of your tight turns. And they did it so well, and Mario Kart's been trying to copy them since.
I still consider Double Dash to be the pinnacle of Mario Kart racing. Nothing has come close, except for Sonic All-Stars Racing Transformed. That's pretty good.
We now also have a counter for the blue shell. So for the people who kind of just wait until the end, oh look, I can blue shell the person in first place and suddenly steal it, there's finally a counter for that.
That took long enough.
Yeah, I'm honestly surprised that didn't happen sooner. Or something that I don't think is in this game. You would think a game that's so item-driven, there would be an option like in Smash to turn certain ones on or off.
Oh yeah, they've only ever had all items or no items.
And then as far as items, there's another item that gives you 8 items at once. Now, how is this a good idea?
Yeah,
Wait a second. What?
Was it in DS?
What do you mean 8?
I
It gives
do
you
not
8
know.
items at once.
They revolve around your cart and you can use them one by one. But wasn't that in Mario Kart DS?
I don't think so.
I have the DS version. There's nothing like that.
No. I know there used to be like the...
My thing is this. I feel like Mario Kart 8 is trying too hard.
That could, yeah.
It wants to appeal to the casual audience, but it's throwing so much in the game that any sense of balance is just not going to be there at all.
Well, they already destroyed that with Mario Kart Wii.
We don't talk about Mario Kart Wii here. We're going to pretend that didn't happen. And of course, as you try to do that, they put out a Wii U bundle where you can get the glorious Wii Wheel, Mario themed, of course.
That is the ugliest looking Wii U bundle I have seen yet.
It's pretty bad.
All that red.
They also had this weird thing during the Direct where they had these two people kind of bouncing off one another, where they would talk about like some of the new items. It just felt really forced. Like they're trying to treat Mario Kart like a modern racer, because there was also another part where you're sitting there, they're talking about the features of the cars. It's like, it's fucking Nintendo. Who cares? We're not paying that much attention to this.
That all Nintendo Directs feel forced.
Yes.
Any communication where you have a Nintendo representative talking to the public, it feels forced.
Feels like they got a gun to their head.
They have a gun to their head, and they have a script in their head memorized that they have to quote verbatim, or they get shot.
Sounds about accurate.
And you know, if your Nintendo head of indie relations happens to tweet a reply to someone saying that, oh yeah, I understand why you're disappointed that the 3DS is region locked, because I travel a lot, so I feel your pain, and his Twitter account immediately gets revoked. You know. Nintendo is not people person.
Or they're trying to be too much of a people person, which I really think that's going to be... I don't know. We'll see. Like, I'm going to get hands-on with Mario Kart 8. I'm going to do a dual review with John, put that up on the site. We'll see how it turns out. I really think they're throwing too much into it. And Mario Kart's rosters just seems to get bigger and bigger. Like, are we up there with Smash now, with how many characters we have?
They have every single Koopa Kid. They now have Baby Peach and Baby Rosalina. They now have Metal Peach, because apparently, and they also have Metal Mario, because apparently we need metal characters in there now, and they need a baby character for every single character. So, and I think Toad is already in there. I don't know if Toadette is there.
I'm sure she is.
Let me take a look.
The ones I know they just announced recently was the Metal Pink Peach.
Toadette's there.
Oh,
Yeah.
There.
Pink Gold Peach.
Pink Gold Peach. I think Baby Peach and Baby Rosalina are in there, because Rosalina is also in there, which Rosalina is cool. I'm not sure the need for the Baby Rosalina. That seems weird.
Because why not? That's literally the only reason.
I don't know. I never got into the baby characters.
I mean, for that, make the star she carries a separate racer. Come on.
Of course, your Mii is an option, too.
Of course.
Of course it is.
And like you guys said, there's the 7 Bowser kids.
That when they announced that was like, really? All 7 of them?
It's kind of... It's cool, like, the nostalgic part of me is like, oh my god, this is awesome, but realistically, it's like, well, we really need all of them.
Yeah, that just seems like a lot. And they're all the Koopa Kids. I mean, they're all basically mini Bowser with crazy hairstyles.
The game's trying too hard. It's like, hey, let's put in all this stuff because we don't have anything that's really pushing the console yet. So let's just put a bunch of stuff into one game and see what happens.
More characters, more items, more tracks. Cars go upside down.
Cars go on ceilings.
Though apparently that's not as big a part of the game as they let on. I've read previews that say the whole cars going upside down gravity thing is actually a very small part of the game.
Like only a couple tracks feature it.
Which kind of disappoints me, because I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, they made it seem like it was a giant selling point.
Well, yeah, I mean, all the box art has Mario upside down on his cart.
Exactly.
So it's like, oh, cool, we can drive upside down. We're going to have entire courses upside down. No, we're just going to have like 1 or 2 spots. That's it.
there will also be some sense of customization. I don't really know how far they're going to go with that.
Yeah, that's been I've been having a hard time figuring out exactly what the whole customization thing will entail. Because Mario Kart DS, I think, originally started the whole customization train.
It's gonna be just like Mario Kart 7, where you have, like 15 bodies, 10 tires, and like 7 gliders. You mix and match the bodies, the tires, the gliders, and then put your favorite racer in the cart.
Which honestly, I kind of liked the more unique carts from Double Dash, where Donkey Kong had his barrel racer, Wario and Luigi had their Corvette, Peach had her little Model T, the babies had their little baby buggy.
Yeah, now everyone just starts with a standard cart and then even later change it to something a little different. But I agree, I liked it better when it was all personalized.
And assuming they're all going to have the same stats, because that was the other thing I liked in Double Dash is all the carts had different stats.
Yeah.
But I don't think they're going to have the same stats. I mean, really, none of the games they have the same stats. Not even when it first started.
Well, no, the characters would have different stats, but in Double Dash you could swap out, because like depending on which characters you had, you got a selection of different carts that had different stats. And it was like the heaviest character you had determined what class of cart you could choose.
Right.
And you could basically, I think, choose from any of the cars. So you could if you wanted, have Donkey Kong and Mario ride in Wario's convertible or Corvette, if you wanted. The carts weren't locked to a specific character.
Yeah, I believe in Mario Kart DS. I play a lot of that, and in the beginning you have to use character-specific carts, but then when you like beat and unlock stuff, you get to mix and match others' carts, which had a very minimal change, but still it was something nice.
Yeah, I remember that now. I think I used Rob's stack up cart a lot.
Oh, Rob. At least this game doesn't feature a character that bad. Why they ever make Rob a racer?
He was cool. I liked his Stack'em cart.
I find Rob to be one of the cooler characters, but that's just me.
It just seems odd. Like, you think they want to just let Rob die.
Yeah. Well, no. See, next the Virtual Boy is gonna become a cart.
Yeah, Virtual Boy cart.
Okay. What's going to happen is that they need to do this. There's time, damn it. We could. Well, no, not at this point. In the next Mario Kart, there needs to be as one of the characters. There needs to be Lucas from the Wizard. You can punch people in the face with your power glove. And every time you successfully land a hit, he says, "It's so bad."
They'll never do that.
It would be hilarious.
At this point, there's a chance they're just doing anything. Like, they're unpredictable at this point. I can see the series going anywhere.
No, pretty soon they'll have Sonic as a racer.
I think Mario Kart, if it's not there already, as far as I'm concerned, it kind of is. But I'll give 8 a shot. Mario Kart's gonna end up with Mario Party, to where it's like, oh, there's another one. Yay. Pretty much just gets forgotten about.
Yeah, did you read the reviews of Mario Party Island Tour on the 3DS?
Yeah, those weren't pretty.
If you want to play a game where you don't actually have to play it,
definitely stay tuned to the site because apparently putting it on YouTube is a bad thing. So
Never put any Nintendo-related content on YouTube ever.
but Smash, I'm gonna have to stick to, I guess, Twitch for that. I don't know.
Yeah, don't Nintendo.
on Twitch.
No, put it up on Vimeo. No, nobody cares about Vimeo.
Yeah, but
you go.
you get no views there either.
No, you'll just have to post it on Reddit or N4G or something.
I don't know. Do people trust Vimeo links?
Oh, I've seen plenty of sites use Vimeo. I know a lot of indie filmmakers and artsy style stuff is on Vimeo. I mean, people do use Vimeo, but nowhere.
Yeah, I know. I use Vimeo for a school thing in the past, and now, like once a month, I get an email saying, "Hey, come to our site. Don't forget about us. We exist."
Poor Vimeo.
But that'll do it. Definitely keep a look on the site because again, I want to do something for Smash. Mario Kart, I probably won't even bother. Like sometime between Mario Kart and Smash, I'll figure out what content's going to be made and where it's actually going to be, and hopefully not get into too much trouble for it.
Yeah.
But until 2 weeks from now, good night, everybody.
May the f- be with you.